Hey guys, welcome to this next video. Today we're going to talk about the effect of lie angle on the putting stroke. And when we're talking about lie angle, we're talking about how the putter sits on the ground, whether it's flat, toe up or heel up. And what we're going to do is analyse what the best version for you is and the effects of each. Let's get into the video. So when it comes to lie angle, there's a couple of terms that I want you to understand. Obviously, ideally, when we're putting, we want to try and make sure that the putter's sitting as flat on the ground as possible. If it's not, then that's going to mean that there's two other scenarios. We're either going to be toe up or we're going to be heel up. And you can see the effects of going toe up and heel up on the shaft straight away. When I go toe up, what that does is that gets my shaft a little bit more vertical, closer to say the 90-degree mark. And when I have my toe a little bit in the air, that causes that putter to flatten out a little bit. You can see how the general sort of lie angle of a putter is a little bit steeper than, say, a driver in a 7-iron. A 7-iron might be here and a driver's going to be a little bit lower. The lie angle of a putter is around about 70 degrees. Some people go a little bit lower, some people go a little bit higher, okay? But on average, it's around about 70 degrees. And that's what putters are built for. Putters are made to be sitting fairly flat on the ground, as if we can keep it on that 70-degree plane, then we're just going to ensure that we're going to be coming back to our setup position at impact. As if we can maintain that 70-degree lie angle, then you can see how it's making that path and that face work together and stay quite neutral. I don't want to be flattening the putter out on the way back or on the way through, or steepening the putter on the way back or all the way through, as that's going to mean that our impact position doesn't look like our setup. And that's one of the key checkpoints in putting. We want to make sure that our impact position looks exactly like our setup position, if our setup position is obviously in a good spot, because that's then going to mean that we're going to be bringing that putter exactly back to where we need it, and that's going to allow us to start the ball on line. So as we've obviously covered the importance of making sure that we maintain the lie angle we set at address, now we're going to talk about the different factors to having your putter maybe sitting a little bit too toe up or a little bit too heel up. Let's obviously go in now to set in, again, neutral. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the putter heel up. Now you can see when I go heel up, what that does is that gets the putter sitting on a steeper lie angle. So that's going to mean that that shaft is going closer to the 90-degree mark. What that then does, because it's on a steeper plane, that actually reduces the arc and can reduce the face rotation when we're swinging back and through. So going a little bit more toe down and heel up can actually reduce the arc and reduce the face rotation if we can just keep it on that steeper plane. If we go more toe up, you can see how that flattens out that shaft angle. Generally, if you think about a baseball swing, that's as flat as it gets, and that's going to be a high arc and a higher face rotation. If we set up with the toe in the air and that putter sitting quite flat, what you can see there is that can promote more of an arc and, again, more face rotation. So you can see how going maybe a little bit more toe up can promote more arc face rotation, a little bit more heel up can promote less arc, less face rotation. But it's just about trying to work out what works best for you. I'd always say you want to try and be as flat as possible, but when you look at putters, say maybe like Tiger Woods or Steve Stricker, they were toe up or heel up and it still worked for them. So there's not really a wrong way to set up to the putter, as long as you're around about that sort of center. A little bit toe up, a little bit heel up, not going to make a whole load of difference. But the best thing for you is about trying to understand what works best for you. Does working flat work best for you? Does maybe going a little bit toe down work best for you, or a little bit heel down? Maybe the way you're setting up is causing you to push or pull it even more. As for example, for myself, I like to sit the putter a little bit more toe down, as my bad one is when I open the face up too much on the way back. So for me, feeling like I have that putter a little bit more toe down just allows me just to feel that I can keep that putter a little bit more neutral on the way back and not open the face too much and not push the ball. So if you're someone that feels like you push it, then obviously that may mean that you will have your putter a little bit too flat, a little bit too toe up, as that can promote more face rotation and then cause that push. Vice versa, if you're someone that pulls it, you may be someone that has it a little bit too toe down, and that's setting that putter, as you can see, on quite a steep angle. If you set it on too much of a steep angle, then that may mean that you don't open the face at all on the way back, and that causes you to actually pull it come the impact position, which then can cause that putt to miss left. So what I'd say is best to do is, now you understand the effects of both, maybe have a look and see where your common miss is, if you miss right or left, and try to understand whether your lie angle may be affecting your miss, as it's quite possible that they can end up correlating. I am going to add in one bit there, as that's just sort of a general theory of what happens when you go 2 toe down or 2 heel down. That's sort of a general pattern. But what may happen as well, depending on the player and depending on their stroke, what going 2 toe up may cause is the hands to be too low. Obviously, as we covered that, hands are going to get low. Now when the hands get low, it actually could be easier for you to keep that face a little bit more square. Even though you're still going to be arcing it around, you may be able to keep that face a little bit more square. And then vice versa, if you go a little bit too toe down and get the club too steep, just like so, yes, your path is going to be neutral, but what can happen from here is when the hands get high, that can actually promote more forearm rotation. So yeah, you can see how I'm keeping that putter square on the path, but you can see how that face wants to open up there. So there's definitely a fair few scenarios that can happen if you go 2 toe down or 2 heel down. That's why I'd recommend only moving it a little bit based on your miss. So always try and make sure that you're keeping that putter flat on the ground. If you maybe suffer with a slight push or a slight pull, then maybe adjust your putter a little bit to toe down or heel down and see if that can help you straight away. But what I would avoid doing is overdoing it, just like I've done there, going 2 toe down or 2 heel down, as that can then cause other problems. So what I'd recommend doing is analysing firstly where your miss is and see if you can correlate to whether you're 2 toe down or 2 heel down. Make sure you get a video from yourself from, say, down the line, or a close-up video there, and see if you can see how you're setting your putter, as that's just going to really affect your path, your arc, and also your alignment as well. So it's really important just to ensure that we're as close to that flat position as possible. So I hope you found that video helpful, and now you understand a little bit more about how lie angle can affect start line, as it's very, very important in the putting stroke. If you could like and subscribe, I'd really appreciate it, and I'll see you next week.